Hello and welcome to the Spring Makerthon. I'm so excited to be here. I have taken part in a few of the other Makerthons and I have just had so much fun creating with you all. Today, as you can see on the screen, I'm going to be making a tiered Easter tray using all of Maker Studio products. Super easy to make, and you probably already have a tiered tray at home. All you'll need is a few supplies and you can create something beautiful for this Easter season coming up. All right, let me split my screen and let me show you what we're going to be doing. All right, so we are going to be making something like this. This is from Montana Vintage. I took the picture off of Pinterest. This was simply just an inspiration. So you can see it's two-tiered tray and it has some cute bunnies and some sayings. Well, we're going to make our own version of this. So we're going to do that by using, let me just show you what we're going to be using. This one. This one is called Happy Easter by a Maker Studio. This is the mesh stencil. These are super, super easy to use. You can't really mess it up unless you drop it. They're very fun, very easy, and you can do it. I promise you can. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first part we're going to make is I took the bottom part of the mesh stencil off, and it's simple, some cute little bunnies, but we're going to pull it off and then we're going to wrap it around here, and we're going to use the etching cream, and we're going to make a cute design around the bunny, because what we'll do is we'll put a votive candle in there and it'll light up. And when I say the votive candles, I mean the ones that are battery powered. All right, so I'm just going to lay the stencil on. Now the glass is angled, so it's not going to go on super straight, and I'm okay with that because where it starts to go a little bit crooked, I'm just going to turn that to the back. So after I get it on there, I'm going to just cut off the extra part of the bunny. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some regular old painter's tape and I'm going to wrap around it, just because I want to make sure that when I'm putting on the embossing cream, it stays on the stencil and doesn't go on the glass. Again, the glass is curved, so it's bringing it up a little bit, so I just need to put one little part on there just to cover that. It does work a little bit easier when your glass is not angled. Okay. Now I did one little piece here for the back. Now I'm going to take my etching cream. I put it already in a little container just for ease of use because I'm going to use the foam dome. And I'm going to stick it in here, making sure I get a lot on there, and then I'm just going to simply push it into the stencil. I want to make sure that it's getting into the design. I'm putting it on heavy. I'm simply just going up and down and pouncing, making sure that I'm getting it in through the mesh stencil. I'm going to go around one more time just to make sure I have it everywhere it needs to be. All right, so now I'm just going to set that aside and it's going to dry. Next, we have this cute little bunny. I've already painted my wood just to save time. This was just a 1x4 cut down. So we're going to put him right there. All you do is you simply pull the back off and You decide where you want to put him. I'm going to put him a little bit off center because I want it to look like he's looking up. Again, I'm just going to use just a little bit of tape. I want to cover up that line there. If you have a nice steady hand, you don't need to do that, but I like to just be careful because sometimes I'll get the ink off around the mesh stencil. In the color Preaching to the Choir, I'm just going to simply take a little bit and put it on my spreader. And I'm just going to get my reading glasses just so I can see. Now I'm just going to start at the top and drag it down, making sure I push firmly enough that the chalk art will go through the mesh stencil. And pick it up so I can see that I have every part covered. Now we're going to pull it off and let's see what it looks like. Aw, look at the cute little bunny. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit more to that, but we're going to let him dry for a second first. I'm going to put him up in the corner. So everything we make, we're just going to line it up so you can see them. Now the trick about the mesh stencils is if you want to be able to reuse them, make sure you clean them and lay them face down to dry. So that way the sticky part stays sticky and doesn't dry to a napkin. If you're doing a video like I am and you don't have time to wash it, you simply just put it in a little bucket of water and then you can wash it afterwards. All right, let's do the next one. So now I have a cute little, it's a tag. Look at this little tag. And we're going to use the part that says Happy Easter. I'm going to give it a nice firm push to make sure that it is on. Next, we're going to use Heavens to Betsy's. This is a beautiful spring color. And I'm just going to simply cut another little piece of my chalk spreader. And actually, I can even cut it down further. And now, I just put a little bit on. And I'm just going to drag it over my mesh stencil, pushing it firmly to make sure the ink goes through. I'm going to be careful about this edge. I could have taped it off, but I'm going to trust my hand that I can do this. Get a little bit more. After I make sure that I have every part covered, I'm going to go back and scratch off all the excess. And then I can simply put it back in the jar. All right, now I'm going to make sure I have no ink on my fingers. I'm just wiping it down with a baby wipe. And now, let's pull it off to reveal our tag. There we go, Happy Easter. So we'll pile this up here. These are all the different things that we are making for our tier tray. All right, next, look at this darling little potted succulent. And we are going to put the silhouette of the bunny on here. Look at this. Now again, this is tapered, so the stencil won't lay perfect, but it's going to lay pretty good. Because this is a smaller stencil, I just need the part of the edges of the bunny to stay down. I don't need to worry too much. See where this is coming up? I'm just going to simply cut that off, just so I don't have to fight with it along the edge of the lip of the pot. Give it a firm press down. And I'm going to go ahead and tape this one just because of the edges. That way they are out of the way. When in doubt, just do it. All right. And this side. All right, because it's a silhouette, I want to use the black again. So I'm just going to, I already have some loaded on my spreader. And I'm just going to go ahead and run it through the stencil. Okay, it looks like I have pretty good coverage. I have a little bit extra on there, so I'm just going to scratch that off real quick, scrape it back onto my spreader. There we go. And let's take a peek. Oh, look how cute, the little bunny. All right, so we're going to put him over here. We're just making a pile of all the different parts we're making for our tiered Easter tray. All right, next, I have already gotten this piece of wood ready. There's some brown on it. I just dusted with a little bit of white paint because we're going to put this fun carrot on here. So just peel the backing, and I'm going to situate it on this little piece of wood. Now, I'm going to be using two different colors on here because the carrot is orange and green. So, let's have some fun with this one. So I'm going to cut another piece of my spreader. I could just simply wipe each spreader down, but instead of doing that, because I'll probably be going between each color, I'm just going to leave them the way they are, but you can also wipe them down. Now, because I wanted a really bright green, see this green that I made? What I did was I took these two colors, look at these two beautiful bright colors. One is You Are My Sunshine, and the other one is Land of Goshen. That I have is a lighter green, but I wanted it to be a bright green. So I'm just going to take it from the stems of the carrot back. Making sure to apply enough pressure where the green goes through to the carrot. Okay, we'll put that to the side. Now we're going to use Mind Your Manners, a bright orange, for the carrot. And these chalk arts, they last for very long time. Look how much, I'm only using so little, and that's going to do that carrot. So I'm going to line it up where my green started, and I'm just going to drag the ink through. I'm going to go this way too, so I make sure I cover all the area, and that way. There we are. Now let's see how cute our little carrot is. Aww, how cute. Now we did get a little bit of, how do I say it, smudging, purely because this piece of wood is not smooth. And I knew that was going to happen, but I'm okay with it because it just makes the bushel of the stem just look so much fuller. All right, be Easter. And we're going to be putting it on this pot. This just a regular old clay pot. And I'm just going to put a piece of tape on each side just to keep it from semi-rolling. There we go. Okay, so if you're worried about using your pot and if it's going to leak through and get your design off, you can go ahead and seal your pots with some clear coat. This pot is purely for decoration, so I am not sealing this pot. All right, so here's the Happy Easter, and I'm just going to pull it off. I'm going to be putting it on two different things, so I'm going to go from one to the other. It's going to go on the clay pot, but it's also going to go on this little white board. All right, so I'm going to line it up, and I'm going to give it a nice rub. part of it's going off the top, and that's okay. Now, if I didn't want to use the wreath that is around Easter, I could simply tape that off and just use the Happy Easter. But I do like it, so I'm going to use it all. I do want to tape the edges just because it's so close to the edge and I don't want to get any ink on the outside. So I'm going to go ahead and tape these edges up. I missed a little section right there, so I'm going to go back and just add another piece of tape. And here we go, this side. And I'm only adding this, it's not to hold the design, it's more so I don't get any ink off of the side of the design. There we go. And I'm going to be using Preaching to the Choir. Oops. So I'm just going to take a little bit more of the chalk art. I'm going to start over here, and I'm just going to push it through. Normally on a bigger design, you want to turn your spreader to the side, but this, because it's on a rounded section, I'm just going to do a little at a time. Some more. I'm only putting on a little at a time. You could put on a little bit more than what I'm doing, but I'm just wanting to make sure I don't get any of the spread underneath the stencil because it is on an angled surface. Oh, and there are so many different designs of these mesh stencils, and you can find them on the Maker Studio website, or you can check with your local retailer, whatever you want. But there are so many different designs that you can get for holidays, for seasons, just for anything. They have ones for pet owners, so many different ones. All right, I'm just double checking to make sure that I don't have any empty spots. All right, so let's go ahead and pull this off. And there we have it. What do you think? Happy Easter. Very nice. Okay, so we're going to set that aside here. Cream, our etching cream is doing. Get all this painter's tape off. Okay, here we go. Let's take a peek. Oh, so sweet. Look at that. How cute. We'll put that right there. But this guy, he needs a little bit more decoration. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take some raffia, and we are just going to tie a little bit around just to give him some more detail. So we have there. And now, just to bring out the edges, I'm going to go ahead and just use my finger into the chalk art, and I'm just going to drag it along the edge just to give it some dimension. Look at that, how cute. See, perfect. A little bit more over here. That is done. We're going to do the same here on our carrot. Just a little bit of the black. Adds a little bit of depth. There we go here. And we're going to now do it to our little Easter tag. Just a little bit, just to add a little bit of more character to the piece. Being careful not to get the black onto the part where it says Happy Easter. But it just adds a little bit to the tag. See that? And it's okay if it's not perfect. I'm going to go a little wider. There we go. See what that adds to it? Okay, so now we are going to decorate our 3-tiered tray. We are going to start with the Happy Easter potted, and we are going to stick it in the back here. And we are going to add just a random piece of greenery I had left over from a project and have it puff out like that. Next, we are going to take the little bunny we did, and I'm going to use a little easel for him to be able to stand up. So we're going to put him right here in the back also. All right, next I'm going to add the little silhouette on the little succulent. We're going to put him right here. Then we have our just a little cement bunny picked up at a thrift store. And then finally we're going to add the carrot. And we're going to put it right here. So it looks like the bunny is looking at the carrot. I'm going to scoot this over just a little bit. There we go. Now for the top. Here's another random little bunny that got at a thrift store. It's a great place to find little bunnies. Next is the votive we made with the etching cream and the bottom of the Easter stencil. I'm going to take a little battery operated votive and stick them in there. So at night I can turn it on. I'm going to put it right back here. And then I have another little succulent that I found at a thrift store, 99 cents, can't beat it. And then I'm going to add the Happy Easter tag to it. Now, every tiered tray has one of these, so make sure you use one of these. If you don't have one, they're super easy to make. You just get natural beads, run some twine through, and then you make the little ends. You just wrap it around, cut the end, and wrap it here, and you have. Now this one is really long, so I'm going to wrap it around the top because we don't need it to be that long for the. We just want it to hang over the edge just a little bit. Let's see. And there you have your spring Easter tiered tray. And of course you can tweak it because you want to make sure you can see all your little parts. So maybe I'll move the succulent over here and then I'll move the bunny back here and bring him up a little bit. There we go. Ta-da! What do you think? Well, thank you for joining me today with the Spring Makerthon. Enjoy the rest of the day with the other makers. I cannot wait to see what they are creating.